Show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Tonight in Chicago, OG Anunoby with the defense. Chicago scored only 21 fourth-quarter points. Karl-Anthony Towns, 11 of his 28 in the fourth quarter. He hit 5 threes. And Mikal Bridges with the Knicks up by 3. 27 seconds to go. Hits the clinching three. And the Knicks prevail over those pesky Bulls, 105-99. Great to have you with us, everyone. From our Delta MSG studios, Bill Pito, Alan Hahn, and Wally Zerbiak. Alan, maybe a little bit tougher than anticipated, but as Wally always says, a win is a win as a win. Oof. Knicks were actually down 1 with about 2:30 to go, but they outscored the Bulls 11-4 down the stretch to win it.
Yeah, took care of business. That's the most important thing. And that just was tough coming out of the break when you have 3 and 4 nights in a back-to-back like they did. And they got 2 wins out of it, so you accomplished that. But I wonder, Wally, if we'll look back at this time and say this is the time of the season where Karl-Anthony Towns started to figure it out. Maybe that's what you can look at this weekend and see if he can build from here.
Big positive. 5 threes. You know, he's made 6 threes one other time this season. So if he can calibrate that three-point shot, that just opens up the offense for the Knicks, opens up driving lanes in so many different ways. It's a good win. You know, Knicks were tired after an emotional game last night, a big comeback. This Chicago Bulls team, you don't know what they're doing, what they're playing for, but they played hard for most of the game. And it was a one-possession game down the stretch, and the Knicks found a way to have the clutch gene again and figure out a way to get a win.
They had the emotional win last night. Knicks had a tough travel sequence getting to Chicago, not a lot of sleep. So maybe they didn't have their full legs, but they were able to pull it out in the fourth quarter. It was a low-scoring fourth quarter, as I alluded to off the top. The Knicks 22 in the fourth quarter. Bulls only had 21, but that was good enough to win the game.
Yeah, and again, it was all about defense. That's what we've been talking about with this team the last couple of nights, starting the fourth quarter with that defensive effort. Colin Sexton didn't play a ton of this game, but in the fourth quarter, he stepped in the game, and he's like, if you're going to give the game away, I'll take it.
Only played 12 minutes.
Yeah, speaking of take it, Towns hits one right there, an easy catch and shoot, top of the key. He loves those shots to walk into them. And that's really, to me, what started getting him going. But
4-point game.
Colin Sexton was going to put as much pressure on the Knicks as he possibly could.
And Buzelis, he knocks down that 3. And this was getting hairy at this point.
Now they're up 1 on that,
yes.
I believe, right?
They took the 1-point lead. OG Anunoby, incredible block from behind. And to block it, not only block it, but then also recover it. And this was the big shot. Gave the Knicks the 2-point lead.
This started 6 straight points for Karl-Anthony Towns. Gave him a lead and then maintained the lead.
Yep. And then Towns sets up that drive with the up fake, gets the finger roll, and the Knicks starting to roll. And the defense was good. That's
great pass.
And there it is. We got a bang from Mike Breen. Bridges had a little bit of a, well, he had a rough shooting night most of the night, but made the big shot. And sometimes that can propel you as a player when you make that huge shot into the next couple games, into the next couple weeks, kind of finding your stroke, finding your confidence.
And you saw there, too, you talk about struggling with the shooting. Jalen Brunson, 7 of 19, but that was his 9th assist. So finding other ways that he can impact winning. And that was a big pass and a big bucket to hold off the Bulls.
So last night, Cat with 25 points. Tonight, 28 points.
Yep.
And when we did the Detroit postgame the other night, Wally, you talked about how important it is for Cat to hit his 3. You just alluded to the fact that 5 made threes, second highest total in any single game this year. Why is it so important for him to hit the 3?
Well, if he does,
for his overall game,
it's important for his game and the Knicks game, because if he doesn't hit the threes and he starts just rumbling, bumbling, stumbling to the basket, just driving straight into defenders, the lane is clogged and there's no room to operate. But when he pulls the 5-man, Richards is a good shot blocker, when he pulls him out to the 3-point line, then when OG drives, when Brunson drives, there isn't rim protection. And that's the biggest thing that you forget about Karl-Anthony Towns. He makes the game so much easier for perimeter players to drive their defender, get paint touches, spray it out to open 3-point shooters, because when he's making those threes especially, you can't leave him at the 3-point line.
So they've been playing off of him.
Yes, it's like playing 5 out. When you play 5 out and there's no rim protector, it makes the game so much easier on offense.
All right, guys, let us bring in Monica McNutt. She's in Chicago. She'll call the game on the radio on ESPN New York. How you doing, Monica? What do you think about tonight?
Well, on the radio, I coined the phrase for tonight, the Shaq Cat game, because I think tonight was the type of performance that Shaquille O'Neal, the great, was talking about last night in the clip that has been much discussed amongst Knicks Nation as he was encouraging Karl-Anthony Towns. But I love it. I mean, the rebounding was fantastic. The aggressiveness. I liked the decisive decision-making when he was taking guys to the rim in that first half in particular. And then obviously the three-point ball gets going. And Tyler and I actually looked at it. And he came up short of 30, I understand. But we haven't seen a 30-point performance from Karl-Anthony Towns since Atlanta, the game after Christmas Day. So I thought this was a great reminder of how important he is and who he can be for this team.
All right, guys, tonight's thrilling moment brought to you by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on, and we're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns and his complete game. Got off to an excellent start again tonight, Alan, and that seems to be really important for him. It was the case last night,
right,
and it was the case again tonight.
Right, and he was aggressive. You see the reaction there, too. Now, he's frustrated with some of the non-calls that he's getting, but you're seeing, I like what Monica said, the decisiveness, where he's not hesitating about anything that he's doing. He's just going for it, especially that quick release from downtown. That might have got him into a rhythm because 5 of 9 tonight, 3 of 3 from downtown last night. So you're talking about an 8 of 12 weekend for him from three-point range, where we know he's been below his standard from three-point range. Again, well, I can get him going.
Maybe a little thank you to Shaq for getting him going, a little motivation.
Be dominant every night.
And doing it against a fellow Kentucky Wildcat. He loves to go up against those other Wildcats and Nick Richards. He seems to get a little bit of extra to show that he's the top cat, so to speak, coming out of Kentucky.
I see what you did there.
Top cat. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's sharp tonight.
Wow. All right, Wally. Monica, Jalen Brunson, we talked about him maybe not scoring as much as normal, but 9 assists, and the key assists there down the stretch to Mikal Bridges were the key 3 that iced the game.
That was a big win. And look, guys, Wally, Han, Pito, you've been around long enough to know this. I do believe, and we all have seen, that the game does sort of dictate what you need. And we are not saying that every night a guy has to have X line. Yes, players have come to have expectations and to have roles on this team. But I do think the phrase that I think of from a coach was to be selfish in a team way, right? Like tonight, and even we saw it last night, it took the fourth quarter before Jalen Brunson got into his scoring bag. But when he did, it was huge and important. Tonight, those 9 assists, the rest of his teammates were going. Like, you got to understand your role on any given night, and I thought Jalen Brunson did a really good job of that. The thing that I was watching, though, too, y'all, was those defensive lineups late. Same kind of thing that we saw versus the Rockets. This was a team that was getting up and down the floor, and it required a level up and focus late in that fourth quarter to make sure that the Knicks came up with the necessary stops.
Yeah, and, you know, tonight Mike Brown closed with his starters. He liked the way they were playing. He liked those matchups, and I remember playing for him. You know, he just does the right coaching move no matter what. It might hurt your feelings every once in a while as a player, and you can't let it, but it is for the betterment of the team. He's always doing what he feels is going to help this team win, and he's going to use certain situations to establish that everyone is going to be held to a standard here of high level of play, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
On the defensive end, like Monica was alluding to, this Bulls team normally gives this system they play, the way they play with Billy Donovan, is really up and down. They don't really run an offense. They do a lot of just downhill, either kick out or downhill, and they draw defense. And that's tough for the Knicks to defend because it's high tempo. And you had to be locked in the late show up in Chicago late after last night's game to lock yourself back into that first half. What we saw in that second half was them holding this team to 46 points. This is a team that scored 137 points on them early this season. So you know they can get points. It's their defense that's been their problem all year. But they locked in the second half defensively, and that also is a sign of a team that's starting to understand where they are right now.
Guys, we got to talk about Landry Shamet. Monica, 16 more points for Shamet off the bench in his last 5 games. He's averaging a touch over 14 points per game.
Yeah, and I asked him, well, I didn't quite say it as eloquently as I could have. I was like, dude, what's going on with you as of late? And he said, you know, this is a team that has continued to grow. And for himself, he's just playing good basketball. He said that this is fun. But I do think, guys, as he continues to get back to his healthiest version of himself, for a guy that's a shooter, a shoulder injury is a big thing. And not just a shooter, but a guy that takes pride in how he defends at the point of attack, like colliding with screens. A shoulder injury is a big thing. So as he's coming back into form, and Mike Brown's confidence and his teammates, quite frankly, the confidence continues to grow into that. He has responded in kind in terms of making the most out of these big moments.
He's been outstanding. And what's so impressive about him is he's not content with just making 1 or 2 shots off the bench. Like, he's getting up to 15, 20 points per game off the bench. continues to attack, to be aggressive, never hesitates. I mean, he is a quick release. When he has an open shot, he makes a quick decision. And